Hello, everybody. Welcome to My Voice. And today I'd like to talk about this thing that I keep hearing over and over and over again when I watch cable news, when I read publications, the Russian interference in our elections. I just have to throw my hands up in exasperation over what in the world are they pounding here? The Russian election, the Russian interference in our elections, this hysteria, if I may use that word, and the new Red Scare, the new Cold War that they're trying to gin up. And you have to question and wonder what the motivation is there. That's not for today's discussion. But I did want to mention that this is all I'm hearing. And I've always been a faithful follower of MSNBC shows like Chris Matthews, Hardball, Lawrence O'Donnell, Rachel Maddow, Chris Hayes. Always have loved those channels and watched them faithfully, but I can't. Since the election, I can't watch them at all now. I'll turn them on for a second. I'll turn them off because they are turning me off. They are turning me off with what I consider to be misinformation. And I'm very sad and very disappointed in all of you from MSNBC for doing this. I've always considered you to be the harbinger of truth. And some of you may laugh when I say that, but I always considered them to be the ones on the air that had their heads on straight and they were truthful. And now I can see that they've been completely bought out by their corporate masters, and they're basically scripted as to what to say, it seems. That's the only explanation I could have for this, because they once seemed to be truth tellers, and they no longer seem to be. So let's talk about their claim of the Russians' interference in our elections. And the only way I can imagine this happening, that another country would interfere in our elections, would be, well, number one would be to actually invade our voting booths themselves, like maybe on election day, there were Russians that came in and voted in place of Americans with fake IDs or something like that. There's no evidence of that the Russians actually fraudulently voted in our elections, at any Russian national or whatever the case might be. The next one would be that they would hack into the voting machines, right? And I don't know. I don't believe the voting machines themselves are actually hooked up to the internet. And I think that there are many reasons against that. Think about it. That would perhaps put them at risk for hacking. One thing that it would do that would be good, that they could say that we would justify, would be that they could instantaneously get results. If all machines were wired to the internet, they could get immediate results. We wouldn't have to wait for them. I don't believe that's the case at all, that they're hooked up to internet at all, right? And they're locally managed too. They're not managed. Our elections are not federal. They are locally managed, which is actually a good thing too, right? It may be less efficient, but it's actually a good thing. So let's talk about that hacking thing. Well, no evidence of them being actually hacked. In other words, someone would go in and change votes from candidate A to candidate B, right? No evidence of that whatsoever. I have to go back to 2004 and 2000, though, where there seemed to be some kind of funny business going on from some of the reports that I'd heard. Bev Harris, look her up on the internet, on YouTube. She's done extensive work and reporting and study and investigation into this, as far as the Diebold Company and some of the questionable vote changes that happen within the machines themselves. And I have questions about that. I actually thought we would have had a President Gore or a President Kerry in both cases, and I really personally suspect, that that's me and you, of course, that there was cheating going on in those elections. This one, I don't think that they have revealed any evidence of vote tampering of the machines. Okay, I belabored that point. So then the next thing would be, well, yeah, they may not have hacked the machines or actually fraudulently voted themselves in the elections, but they disseminated information that was false or true about Hillary Clinton, that poisoned the well, that interfered in our election. Well, for one thing, information disseminated about a candidate happens in every election, right? if somebody was telling the truth about Hillary Clinton and the Democrats didn't like it, well, then so be it. WikiLeaks is not an arm of the Russian government. And Julian Assange has claimed that the Russians had no influence and were not even the source of the information that was uploaded to WikiLeaks. And WikiLeaks, of course, being that publishing company that accepts information from whistleblowers and other sources, it's even suggested that the Seth Rich murder might have been linked to this, as Julian Assange was. There was a reward for information on the murder. So the information might have come from Seth Rich, may have come from the inside the DNC. And like I said, the last time I heard, it wasn't illegal to publish information about your opponent. Now, if it's untrue, obviously that should be challenged. I don't think any of that stuff was untrue that was published by WikiLeaks regarding the Clinton campaign. When will the disinformation that the media is putting out, when will it stop? They seem to be hell-bent on destroying Donald Trump, right? Now, I was a Bernie guy, but when Bernie, in my opinion, sold out and abandoned all those people who supported him, I'm just really sad that Bernie did that. I really am. And they must have offered him something very sweet or threatened him or his grandchildren or something. And I wouldn't put anything past any of them. But it still saddens me that Bernie Sanders, who could have been and probably would have been president of the United States right now, yielded to Hillary Clinton. And so when I see Bernie come on TV now and say, here's what we need, I don't even listen to him anymore because, look, Bernie, you're going to lead us down the road and then you're just going to abandon us again. So I'm sorry, So when will all this disinformation stop? I don't think it's going to. I think they're hell-bent on getting Trump impeached or pressure him to resign, or perhaps, the worst that you could imagine. You never know. With this deep state thing, you never know. Okay, so that's my voice. I'd love to hear your voice in the comments. Thank you very much.